I'm glad that I held off on making this initially because you're gonna get sort of a different video than you would have normally. In the time I've taken to think about it, I'm actually kind of sad that I'm even making a video like this. And the only reason I'm really doing it is that I love doing it. I love talking about myself and explaining my craft, especially when no one else is doing it. Like, I enjoy it, but the more preferred method would be that other people are interpreting my songs and reading into them and engaging with the content on a deeper level than I am. You know, I hate to be the guy who is the most invested in my own content. It only goes to show just how small the listener base of my music is, that I am, clearly have not really made any strides in the music industry. This album has sold maybe 25 copies, which is not bad for someone who's not a, musician by trade to be pulling on Bandcamp, and I pulled, much better numbers than that on Gay and Dead because there was a lot more hype surrounding that album and shit, but, nonetheless, in spite of, whatever numbers I have pulled, it is chump change in the grand scheme of things, and most of my audience to my music is not even really music fans in general. It's mostly just my fans, people who are invested in me as a person, and for a lot of them, interpreting lyrics, interpreting music is not really something that they typically do. It's more something that they would turn to an analytical video to do. The kind of people who watch analysis aren't always necessarily the type who are, analyzing absolutely everything they listen to. Maybe they would rather hear my version of it anyways because they know I'm gonna make a video about it, so why even bother interpreting it? Whatever the case may be, a week ago I watched a video from Tyler the Creator where he did an interview about his album Flower Boy, but it was with an interviewer who is a friend of his who he had chosen. And the way that the questions are structured and the way that the video is edited, there's a lot of artistry to it in a strange way. It's not that it's sending any particular message so much as that it's directed in a very stylized way that's clearly just what Tyler found aesthetically pleasing. And, he edited the information and directed the film in such a way that it would convey what he wanted people to hear. I wouldn't be surprised that the original interview is much longer than the version we got on YouTube, because it's very cleverly edited in such a way you would never know if they cut things out of it. So, even though it has the natural flow of a real interview, you'll notice he never really goes into great depth about what his lyrics mean. He more, talks about what influenced the songs, what inspired them, how he went about creating them, rarely what the lyrics mean. Now, for me, the only problem with this is that I long to be understood. That's the main reason I create stuff. I'm not somebody who's satisfied with, putting out something vague and just taking for granted that people might understand it. I need confirmation. And I don't even need large confirmation. I could deal with just one commenter telling me, posting a comment and saying they get it, but, to have somebody really understand, everything I'm saying would kind of be a stretch. Anyone outside of myself, even including myself, sometimes when I do these, I, forget things that, went into the initial thought process behind a song, and I'll remember it later and go, oh, that's why I fucking wrote that line, and I didn't even know why when I did the behind the scenes vlog, it's difficult to have that kind of one-one relationship with the person that I was when I was writing the lyrics, and my lyrics usually sound really direct, but I've always had a way of writing that's direct and general at the same time. If you watch my anime videos, you could probably get some of that, where, it doesn't sound like I'm writing in riddles or anything, but I just pack a lot of information into simple phrases and sort of, arrange simple words in a way that enhances their meaning. So that's also what I do in my music, though. I'm not trying to say I'm a great lyricist or anything. I think I'm honestly pretty mediocre. I am much better with flow, general presence, and interesting ideas, more so than great lyrics. This album has a lot of personal affectation to it. It's describing a period in my life just as much as any of the other albums are, except that this album is a little bit more general because of the fact that it's more meant to speak on this rhythmic mood that I have. You know, I don't know that I'm manic depressive or anything like that, but I understand that experience of, you know, having a real spike of creativity and a real spike of like joy, and having like maybe a period of a week where I just feel absolutely amazing. And then it's always met with like a comparable crash. And like at the place I'm at right now, because I'm so generally happy with my life, it's like going from a 9 to a 6, you know? Like my everyday life is a 9 out of 10. You know, a 10 is like a special occasion, but like and my everyday life is like really great. And so, but then to have that like dampened every week or so for no real reason and for a few days, you know, like I have that kind of mood cycle that for whatever reason, sometimes I feel elated and sometimes I feel deflated, and I don't know what causes it, because it's not always obvious. Sometimes there's something I can blame for it, but it just feels as though like that was just a trigger that set off like what was impending anyways. That's the nature of the album. You're meant to listen to it on repeat. I tried to emphasize that in the presentation. I didn't go like overboard with it or anything. I didn't try to make it like really like obvious that that's what you're supposed to do, but I put it in the description that you know, that's how I wrote it. Because it's meant to reflect this cycle of like feeling really great for a while, and then feeling just like kind of pissed off for a while, and not in like a oh, I fucking hate the world or I'm super depressed kind of way, but just like having more of a chip on your shoulder than you did in the first half of the album. Initially I was going to try to make the two halves of the album sort of parallel, like they were going to be like about the same length and same number of tracks, and I did stick them with the same number of tracks, but I was actually really satisfied with the way that Manic Low is quite a bit shorter, because Manic High is like 8 minutes long and Manic Low is only 5 minutes long. And I do think it's because like my Manic Lows are usually a lot shorter than my highs, you know, like I'm usually in a good mood. I just sort of dip into these low points just, you know, based on you had a bad day. I'm gonna go through this album in the order that the songs were created and like that the ideas had their genesis, because this thing sat in the pot for a few months, even though the like amount of time I was working on the album was, you know, not as much as the other albums I've made. Most of my songwriting is like I write a song in a day, I record it that day, and that's been true on all my albums, but like it's just when do I get a beat and when do I rap on it, you know? Like that's why Gay and Dead, like more than half the album was made in 1 week, because like we just sat down and made beats and raps for a week. But you know, with this one, there were various things that pushed it back. I was almost done with it at the end of December. Like, I had everything except for Heavenly written, and I didn't have You're the One recorded yet, but I had it written. And so I wanted to do the recordings for both of those, but after I got home from vacation, I was sick, and I just literally, like, my voice was too shit to perform for, like, weeks. So then finally I got to finish it and post it online. But most of this was written in like November and December. So Human Connections was the song that came first. And it was sort of like, for me, rapping has always primarily been a way to like exercise demons. Like when I'm really upset about something that I can't put into easy words, that is like when I am most capable of rapping. And then, you know, I usually expound on that stuff in these videos, because sort of rapping about it has sort of helped me to deal with it. You know, it's helped me to internalize those feelings and like understand them and be able to share them with other people, but like or put them to an aesthetic and like understand them aesthetically, you know, like what is the feel of this emotion musically. I was in a bad mood in November because this was not long after the Monkey drama had happened. And it might have been like a month after, but like this was at the point where I was starting to get a lot of Monkey's trolls like fucking hammering me all over the place. I think the Super Mario shit happened around this time. Generally, like, the internet was pissed off at me for a lot of different reasons and were really badgering me about it. And it wasn't even that many people. It's just like a small clique of people who are like on my ass. But I'm also kind of in like a content dearth because I decided to make a video that takes a month to make, and like now people like think I'm falling off, so they think I'm prey, you know. And like when people think you're prey, that's when all the fucking vultures come down. You just gotta convince them you're dead for a little bit and then come back like fucking Jesus 3 days later, or in my case after December's over. But you know, case aside, at the time I was pretty pissed off, and I was just thinking about what had caused all this. Like, what led me down this path towards, like, you know, ending up with these issues in my life? And the answer is always human connections. You know, like, you only get hurt because you put yourself out there. It's the porcupine's dilemma, as made famous by, you know, Neon Genesis Evangelion. Like, probably not actually made famous by that show, but... And this was also when I was like really on my I'm gonna like pull back from the internet thing. And that's why it makes me sad that I'm gonna analyze these lyrics now, because I'm sort of saying in these lyrics that like this is not something I'm gonna do, is like have people knowing every single detail of my life and like all the reasons I did all the things that I did, or like, you know, just having more insight than I think is valuable to our relationship as a creator and a, you know, and a spectator, as I refer to people in this song. But like, I think a lot of my anger at the time was just that like I was, you know, catching on with a different crowd. Like, it wasn't just my fans watching me. It's a lot of other people. I've got a lot of haters who watch me because they don't like me and they want to talk shit about me. And I'm not just talking about trolls. I'm talking about fucking half of Anti-Twitter. All these dudes who fucking subtweet me every time I make a video about how, like, I'm shit or I don't know this or that, and no one fucking adds me. You know, like, I find that shit. I know all of it. You can't talk shit about somebody online and they don't find out about it. All of us have networks. All of our fans read everyone else's fans and they tell us about it in our Discord. If you talk shit about an internet creator online, they'll find out, you know? Like, if you are relevant in any way to them, if you're not just, like, literally nobody and their fans don't even think you're worth bringing up to them. So these lyrics, this first part is essentially a premonition about what was going to happen to my content in December. So I said, done with you spectators, I don't need no haters no mo, I'm done with the promo, I'll put shit in slow-mo so I can breathe deeper and create a flow so immaculate no one could fuck with it. So I'm saying, like, I'm done with everybody, like, being all up on my shit, I'm done with spectators all up in my business. I'm like done with having haters. Like, if whatever I'm doing right now is something that necessitates you having haters, I'm not feeling it. You know, I'm not into it right now. So I'm done with the promo. I'm done promoting myself. I'm done with like trying to grow right now. I'm taking a step back. I'm putting shit in slow-mo so I can take a deep breath and create something so good that you cannot tell me it's not good. You know, like, that's what I mean by a flow so immaculate no one could fuck with it. Homogenized all your artists are lies, and like flies to the shit falling out your behind. You don't gotta spend time wondering who among is a real one. None of this fucking shit is real, son. So I was really into H3 Podcast at the time that I wrote this, and I was fascinated by the way that essentially everyone on YouTube is a persona. But somehow, and I don't know how he does it, but Ethan really gets people to show a different side of themselves on that show. You don't really see them in the environment of their videos. You see them like in the environment of who they are. And it's kind of weird how consistently people, you know, show up that way. There's very few who show up and like try to maintain their character. Yeah, so it just made me think about how much of YouTube is like people just pretending to do what they do. Like Joey Salad saying that 99.9% of all pranks on YouTube are fake. It's like, yeah, of course they are. Like, most of it's fake. Most of everything on YouTube is fake. Like, it's all just manufactured, and they try to all make the same shit because they just want you to pay attention to it. They just do what's popular and what will sell, and none of it's real, you know? You don't gotta spend time wondering who among is a real one. None of this fucking shit is real, son. Because, like, even the realest shit is not real, you know? What I'm showing you right now, this is not my real life. This is, like, me in front of a camera with a microphone. I mean, like, you're watching footage of my real life, but this is not what it looks like from my perspective. I see the whole room. I know what's going on outside the screen. You know, there's a lot more to this. You didn't know this, but I'm not wearing pants. That's part of the narrative, you know, like that's, I'm not going to show you, but I assure you it's true. There are no pants on me. So, you know, it's not the real life. However, it's close in my case. I'm only legit because I'm such a prick, full of active contempt for consumers and the whole culture surrounding the viewer and our whole world's fucking sick sense of humor. So this is me doing like a neat little expansion of scope thing where I'm talking about how, like, the only reason I am able to be legit at all, like the reason I'm able to be more legit than most people is that most people are like trying to appease the customer because they want your money. And I have so much contempt for like the entire culture of the consumers of what I produce that like I am not welcoming. Like I am not welcoming to the average YouTube fan because I despise the way that the average YouTube fan thinks and like believe that they are the cause of why the content is getting worse and why it can't easily get better, you know? So I have active contempt for the consumers of YouTube and the whole culture surrounding them and our whole world's fucking sick sense of humor. Just the fact that our world is so fucked makes it hard for me to, like, I don't know, I don't really see anybody as, like, a good person, so, like, why do I owe you anything, you know? Like, you're just a piece of shit like me! No, you can't vote on me, ballot box closed, homie. Get my name out your throat for you choke, homie. So, the no you can't vote on me line, I meant it in the sense that you can't vote on what I do. You cannot vote on what is gonna be the next Digibro thing. This is sort of a riff on, like, the way that certain people run their Patreons, where they'll have, like, you know, viewer voting for what the next topic's gonna be, or like suggestion boxes and stuff like that, and like that is not my game, you know? Like nobody can tell me what I'm gonna make. Nobody can suggest, you can't like vote what anime is Digibro gonna cover this season. Like it's gonna be whatever I want it to be. Get my name out your throat for you choke, homie. Just telling people like so many fucking little people be talking shit. And I don't know if they just don't think I'm going to hear them or if they don't think I'm going to respond, because most big people wouldn't. But, like, you're going to get killed. It might be fun. Like, I know these guys, I know for some of them, they want the glory. They talk to me because they know I'll talk to little guys. But for a lot of them, it turns out not to be worth it when they get fucking killed, like, by me and my whole fan base. So, like, you know, choose this battle carefully. I'm a fighter. I ain't fresh off the boat, I'm a homegrown issue, and you misused my prose, so we about to have issues. So here I'm referring to, like, I'm from here. I'm from America. I'm, like, you know, I'm from the internet. I'm from this place. Like, where we all are, I am from here. I'm not an outside force. And this is important because, like, I am an outsider to culture in that I, you know, have different beliefs and values than the average person. However, I did not bring those values from elsewhere. You all did this to me. You, viewer, you, and the rest of society, you all did this to me. So this is all your fault. And, you know, that I ain't fresh off the boat. I'm a homegrown issue. And you misused my prose, so we about to have issues. And just referring to people who, like, you know, misquote me, misuse the things I say, take it out of context, like, you doing that shit. We throwing hands, you know. Next, who says I miss you is about to get checked. I haven't gone nowhere and I'm doing my best, so get off of my dick. I ain't here to attest to my own proof. Dude, I got shit on my chest and I gotta get it off or it'll bore a hole through the back of my soul and I'm getting too old for it. Motherfucker, look at all I got to show for it. I don't have to put on such a fucking show for it. Oh, what a just complete thought there. So first, I'm talking about the people who say, I miss the, like, basically I miss the old Digibro, or, like, I miss your content, because I've been putting out so much shit, and, like, a lot of it's just different, you know, people, back at the start of whatever month it was that I launched Digibro's Turntable, like, at the start of that month, there was a video on that channel every day for 14 days, And, like, in the meantime, like, maybe there wasn't a main channel video, or there was only one and it was early on or something, but, like, the turntable shit was, like, some of my favorite stuff I was doing, you know? I was, like, real into that channel, and I felt like I was doing lots of creative stuff. This channel, rather. We're on the turntable channel. But, like, I was real into this channel, and no one was really paying attention to it, and they're like, where's Digibro? And I'm like, yo, if you look at the fucking new shit, maybe you'll appreciate it, you know? So, next who says I miss you is about to get checked. I haven't gone nowhere and I'm doing my best, so get off my dick. I ain't here to attest to my own proof, dude. I got shit on my chest. That's me saying, like, I'm not here to prove to you that I'm good. Like, that's something I've brought up in a lot of my raps. It's just, you know, I sometimes feel like I'm under pressure to make stuff that is, like, technically great to impress people. I know this is something, like, that I used to even do myself to Endless Jess. Like, there used to be a lot of us pressuring him to, like, make more, like, narrative content after he had finished the Horseshoe Saga. Like, we wanted more stuff like that, and he went in, like, a lot of different directions, and a lot of his audience didn't follow all of it, but, like, and some of it started off, like, not as great. Like, if you only watched episode 1 of The Blue Glow, like, it just seemed like a really poorly edited Let's Play show, you know, but then, like, by episode 5 or whatever, it's like a fully edited Let's Play show, and it's real interesting and totally different, and, like, no one's keeping up with it. So, you know, I now am, like, understanding that feeling that he must have had at the time of, like, I'm over here doing real shit, and, like, I don't want to have to constantly write the 16-bar speed rap. You know, I don't want every rap I do to have to be fucking either, like, some hype motivational track, like, for Stella the Magic, or fucking some, like, you know, like, fast rapping, rap god shit. Like, some of the time, the emotion I'm trying to express does not require those sorts of, you know, that brand of technical showmanship. So, like, I'm not here to attest to my own proof. I've got shit on my chest that I have to get off, or it'll bore a hole to the back of my soul. And I'm getting too old to, like, let that happen. I'm getting too old to, like, you know, try to make all my content suitable for the widest possible audience at the detriment of my own, like, you know, enjoyment of it. And I'm saying, like, look at all I've got to show for it. Look at all I have to show for these talents. Like, I don't have to put on such a fucking show just to, like, earn this, you know? Like, I can put out, like, I don't have to make the greatest thing in the world for somebody to love it, you know? I'm good enough that, you know, whatever I'm going to express, there's someone who's going to be interested in it. Unwanted advice, I'm tearing out my eyes, I'm not here for you guys, I'm just doing my thing. If you like it, then please show support for the king. If you don't like it, sick, then you don't have to see. You should know that I'm mean, and I'm not what you want. I ain't here to help you, and I ain't here to flaunt. I'm just running the program I understand, haunted by knowing too much, and yet not what I wanted. So this part is pretty straightforward until the last line, which is my favorite. I'm just running the program I understand, haunted by knowing too much, and yet not what I wanted. Like, I am not doing any of this for praise. I'm not doing any of this for the audience. I'm just doing this stuff because this is what I have to do. This is my thing. Like, I have to make content. I have to express myself. I have to communicate. I am driven by those needs as a human being. So, like, I have to do it. And, like, it's because I know too much about things, and, like, it's not the right things. I know that. I know that this is not the lifestyle that is, like, probably the best fitted to, like, being a human being in the long term, but, like, this is what I know. I know a lot about it. I know a lot about doing this job, even if it's knowledge I shouldn't probably, you know, have to use. So let me get to the chorus. Human connections, what a mistake. Most of what I've made only brought more pain. Should've stayed away, yeah, should've known better. Only true homies get to share what I've gained. So here I'm just talking about how, you know, so many human connections have turned out to be mistakes. Obviously, this is sort of a commentary on, like, the monkey situation and what was going on there. But, like, also just other relationships I've had. I mean, I've been an internet creator for a long time, and I've met, like, hundreds of people, and I only got a few friends, you know? So, like, I'm not perhaps the easiest to get along with myself, but I also think, you know, I just find myself let down by people pretty often. Should have stayed away, just should have known better, you know. Only true homies get to share what I've gained. Like, only the few people who I do truly love are the ones who I'm going to take with me to the next level. You know, like, they're the only ones who, like, I'm going to, you know, show the love back. Naming the ones I still like on one hand, not stopping anyone leaving the band, only one finger for whom do I care, even the bad out but I am still scared. So this is probably the deepest quartet on the EP. And, you know, I'm talking about how there's only so many people I still like. You know, like, there's only so many people who I consider, like, close friends. And the people who want to leave my group of friends, the people who are like, you know, I don't know if I want to be, like, associated with this anymore, like, I'm not stopping them because I understand. Like, I understand how painful human connections are and why you would not want to continue maintaining them, you know? There's only one finger for whom do I care. That's my girlfriend, my wife, my fiance, whichever stage we're at. I don't know what the difference is. You know, it evened out the bad, but I'm still scared. So, like, you know, obviously this is one human connection that I'm very happy with. And, like, I feel like it was obviously worth all of the negative connections to eventually establish a good one. But, like, even though that is the case, it does not make me less apprehensive about further connections, because this is like a once-in-a-lifetime connection that I've made, you know? So, like, it doesn't make me feel any more likely that, like, the next one's gonna be great, too. Human connections, what a mistake. Human connections, what a mistake. Most of what I made only brought more pain. Should have stayed away. Yeah, should have known better. Only true homies get a piece of this cheddar. I just wanted to change up. Because on the other one, I ended it on gained, which was like returning to the previous line's rhyme. So I rhymed pain with gained. And this time, instead of rhyming pain, I rhymed better with cheddar. So it was just like a misdirect to make it sound different the second time, you know. And then I could also chain that rhyme into the next stanza. Me and her cuddled up under a sweater, letting our home be consumed by the weather, drowning out all the sound from our abode. All that I want is we are left alone. So this is where I wanted to kind of end the song on a high note, because I felt that it would be inauthentic to write anything this, like, aggressive and depressing at a time when I am generally pretty happy in life. You know, like, I've always had an easier time writing about negative emotions when I write lyrics. Like, that has just been, like, where my negative emotions go for most of my life, really. Like, even since I was a kid, I've written, like, mostly dark and depressing songs. And I think it's just because, like, that's the easiest outlet for me to deal with those emotions, but, you know, it's weird when I try to do other ones. Like, I can do some comedy rap, I can do, like, just funny sexual songs, and, like, I tend to stay in, like, this grotesque imagery range, though. Like, I'm almost like a freak, like, horrorcore rapper in a way. Even though I also, like, you know, will entertain really, like, upbeat and fun beats. And when I do write, like, more positive songs, like Humans Are Okay, it's, like, with a really, like, cynical slant. Like, that song basically is, like, humans are barely okay. And when I talk, like, when I do brag raps, it's, like, I am barely better than everyone else. But, like, I am still bad, and you're all just worse. You know, like, and that's the kind of vibe. It's never, like, hopeful. And so with this album, like, you know, I've been trying to work towards the album Well Laid and Well Paid. And Well Laid and Well Paid is meant to be like a sort of concept album, the way I'm imagining it. It's very high level, and it's something I can't really do on my own. Like, I can't really produce beats of the caliber I am trying to imagine, and I don't know if I can communicate what I want them to be like to other people. So I'm still, like, trying to work through how I'm going to, like, create that album. But, like, while I've been working on that, like, in the back of my mind, you know, I was just struck with the desire to write a rap about these, like, angry emotions I was having, and I just went to Shade's SoundCloud because, you know, I used to just use Shade beats, and then I used Blind Skywatcher on the, you know, Gay and Dead a lot, but There was a lot of Shades beats that I had skipped over. Like, there's always been just, like, ones that maybe I don't think my voice would sound good on it, or, like, I don't think it really works as a rap song, or I think it's better as just a song on its own, or I just didn't have an idea, or it just didn't fit into the project I was working on at the time, so I skipped over it. For any of those reasons, I might not have used a beat, so I started going back through his beats, and one that he had made towards the back end of, like, Gay and Dead being developed was this beat called Dark and Grimy, and I liked the sound of it, but it's, like, very repetitive and grating, and I wanted Gay and Dead to be a pop album. Like, every song on Gay and Dead is constructed to be, like, a punchy pop song with, like, a strong hook, with real, like, short run times, with the exception of Body Rolls, but Body Rolls is also, like, the longest, most obnoxious chorus of all time. So, you know, the whole album is a fun pop record, with few exceptions, and even, like, Nihilistic Suburban Void, which is more challenging, still has, like, a real memorable hook section in the middle, you know. It would still be a good, like, music video song, if not, you know, a radio single. But, like, with Human Connections, with this beat, I was like, I want this to just be abrasive. I want it to be kind of a punch in the face. Like, this beat is kind of annoying and droning, but, like, it's also heavy and hard, and it sounds good, you know, and, like, I figured that as long as I changed up my flow enough times over the course of the beat, then it would, like, sort of ease the repetitiveness of it. You know, it would make it feel a little bit more varied as long as I changed up my flow in places. So the flow on this track is real, like, it changes a lot. The first whole part is all in triplets, because I've been listening to a lot of trap and radio music. Boy, I'll really get into that when I talk about Way Up, but, like, I've been listening to lots of Denzel Curry and shit, and so I was, like, real into the idea of using triplets here. Which, for those who don't know, the triplet flow is, like, the popular flow in, you know, pop trap music, popularized by the group Migos. But it goes like, you just do everything in threes. So, like, done with you spectators, I don't need no haters no more. I'm done with the promo. I'll put shit in slow-mo so I can breathe deeper and create a flow so immaculate. No one can fuck with it. So, and this is real strong triplets right here. Like, I've got a good, interesting rhyme scheme going on, like no-mo, promo, slow-mo, flow-so, no one, well, you know, just no is there, but, like, then we switch over to something else, but, you know, so the reason I did that 3x3 there, and then switched over to a different rhythm, is that with the line, homogenized all your artists are lies, I'm criticizing the homogeny of artwork. So I'm now criticizing the the triplets that I was, almost at 3x3s. I'm criticizing the triplets that I was just doing by changing the flow drastically, because triplets have become, like, the most copy and pasted formula in, like, pop music, and you just hear them constantly on the radio. And while they do sound great and they're real fun to do, and I did some strong ones here, I then immediately break that and then say, like, homogenized all your artists are lies, and like flies said the shit falling out my behind. You don't gotta spend time wondering who among is a real one. None of this fucking shit is real, son. Which is, like, I don't even know who to compare that flow to. Maybe, like, Eminem. I kind of has done flows like that, but, like, this is like some real, like, this is Digibro flow right here. Like, to me, this song is, like, one of the most Digibro flow songs. You can see a lot of my trademark flows in here, which have really become apparent over the course of my releases. Like, if you would pay attention to different songs, you'll find the same flows in a lot of different places that I you know, tend to gravitate towards. But so the next, like, 10 bars after that are all, like, me doing my own crazy flow, my own, like, whatever I want. It's just whatever matches the lyrics. But then I slip back into triplets again at the end with the unwanted advice. I'm tearing out my eyes. I'm not here for you guys. I'm just doing my thing. If you don't like it, please show support for the king. So what I was really going for here was I wanted to take triplets in a different direction, where usually they're used to really sound hard, and you usually put the emphasis on, like, one syllable over and over again, like, done with you spectators, I don't need no haters no more. You know, like, it's always hitting you with that, like, that repetitive banging that's kind of like a fucking machine gun firing, which is what makes it such an attractive, you know, type of flow. But here I tried to make it like really loose and to show lots of emotion. So when I get to like, I'm not here for you guys, I'm just doing my thing. If you don't like it, please show support for the king. If you like it, then please show support for the king. If you don't like it sick, then you don't have to see. You should know that I mean, and I'm not what you want. Like, I really wanted this pleading voice, this like the triplets means it still sounds really like hard and badass, but I'm able to like sort of get whiny and pathetic with the lyrics and, you know, like sort of beg the audience like in a way that's very powerful because it's like propelled by this certain you know, flow. Then we have like an unexpected chorus at the end of the song, the human connection's what a mistake line. I just thought it would be real neat to have like the song totally dip out and go in a different direction at the end. To have it like sort of end in a dark place. Like we've been in a sort of angry and aggressive place, but like at the end we're just sad. And like, you know, I've been like really attacking the audience, attacking my haters, attacking everybody. And then at the end I'm like pleading, you know, and finally just despondent. Like, human connections, what a mistake. Most of what I made only brought more pain. Like, it's literally me like accusing myself of like should have known better, like this was my mistake, I fucked up, you know, like it's like acknowledging my own faults in the situation. But then it resolves in a positive place where I'm like, you know, as long as we can be left alone, as long as me and her can cuddle up under a sweater, letting your house be consumed by the weather, which is also because it's been snowing nonstop since fucking November started here in fucking Rochester. So as long as we're left alone, there's still sort of a positive sensation at the end of the day. Anyways, went on about that track forever, but it's probably like one of the deepest lyrically I've ever written, so I hope that was fun. I had to stop recording for a little bit because I saw that the new Corrupting Your Kids video was done uploading, so I decided to go schedule that. In the process, I ended up coming up with the idea for my next album, or my next music release. It's going to be called Ghosts of Midwinter Ballers, and it'll be out, I don't know when. I have no idea. I don't know any other details about the project, but I already made the cover art. Then Devu suddenly finished my new main channel video, and I had to go do that. And now it's fucking 5 o'clock, 5:20 in the morning. So, you know, I'm going to try to get through the rest of this a little bit quicker than the first track. But, so after Human Connections, I had written this song, and I felt kind of weird about it because it was such a downer song, such like an angry, bitter song. And I hadn't really been that much in that mindset in the time since Gay and Dead's release. You know, like, I've been living with my fiance, May, Pantsu Party, and it's been a great time. You know, like, I've been generally pretty happy and upbeat. I just get, you know, mad at things sometimes and, like, sort of go in, like, maybe a little bit of a downward spiral for a couple of days, you know? But, like, or even just a couple of hours usually is more likely. But, and it's been almost impossible to do that in the time since, you know, she left her job to come work as my assistant, like, because we've been together all the time, so there's not really any chance for me to, like, go into a depressive corner and fucking read comments or something. But it's never been easy for me to write lyrics about, like, contentedness. Again, I'm much more likely to write about darkness, so I thought, well, what if I tried to balance it out and make an EP called Manic High, Manic Low, and it'll be about these mood swings that I'm having, you know, like this sort of rocky road that I'm on between, like, enjoying this new life that I love and, like, sort of still experiencing some of this, like, you know, this holdover from the way that my attitude has been up until this point, from, like, how I've conducted myself until now. And feeling almost a disconnect between those things, you know? So I decided, why not make an album called Manic High, Manic Low? And it'll be 2 different EPs, each one just a few songs, and they'll reflect this, you know, the exact emotions described by the title. Now, of course, manic depression is characterized by manic highs and, like, just lows. Like, a manic low I don't think is a thing, but I just thought it would be a cool title. And then I designed the album cover for Manic Low around the time. There is technically different album covers for each of them. You can, if you download the album, you'll get both album covers. You can see the Manic Low cover on the SoundCloud release of Human Connections. Both of these were made by me looking up on Google, like, pictures of the word manic, and in both cases I found where someone had, like, crafted it in and taken a picture of the word, like, against a real life backdrop. Like, one was, like, just the word manic, like, in, like, what looked like paper cutouts on a fence or something. I don't really know what it is, but I took that and then I just wrote in the word low in Microsoft Paint and then put some Photoshop filters on it to make it look cool and aesthetic. And then I did the same thing with Manic High, but in that case it was like this weird, like, rubbery texture that the image had that really attracted me to it, and then, like, I enhanced that even more with the effects that I put on top of it to give it this really, like, bubbly feel. And, of course, the word high was just written in by me. And then I also took a, just, like, a wallpaper of weed, of pot leaves, because obviously part of the Manic High is that I'm fucking high 24/7. So, you know, I just took a picture of a bunch of pot and, like, just made it real transparent. So you might have to look at it for a second to even realize it's there. But when I finally put the album together, I spent a lot of time debating over whether this was going to be released as 2 separate EPs or as one album, but I really wanted audiences to re-listen to it or to, like, listen to them back to back over and over again. And I thought it would be best communicated if they were all in one upload. You know, if it was one YouTube video that you could just reload over and over again would make the most sense. So, you know, that's the approach I ended up taking on it. And I just decided to combine the 2 covers, and I just laid one over the other and then, like, used the eraser tool to, you know, make the design of the cover, which is sort of freaky. It looks like the Manic High is, like, being stitched over the Manic Low, like it's trying to pull itself over it and consume it in a way, which I think looks really neat. So after that I did Feeler, and this song was the product of Shade finally releasing a new beat after, like, a long period of silence. He put out something just called, like, Sample 001, and I got the impression he didn't intend for this to be used for anything. It was kind of just him, like, making shit up, because it's, like, a very abrasive, obnoxious beat full of, like, weird sound effects, and it seems kind of skeletal and incomplete, and it's only, like, 50 seconds long, so I'm thinking he probably just, like, kind of abandoned it, but thought it sounded cool enough to post anyways. So, like, I just really liked the feel of it and the aggression, and I thought this is, like, this is the sound of a Manic Low. Like, this is the sound of being, like, sort of at the bottom, and I immediately knew I wanted to go for, like, a screeching, like, even more, not even like Danny Brown, it's even more, like, weird than that. Well, not more weird, but, like, more just, I'm really just, like, shouting in this, like, strung out way, like, fuck up on my own bitch, I'ma get winner, you know. And so, yeah, that's the lyrics. Fuck up off my lawn, kids, I'ma get weirder. Just saying, like, if you don't, like, you know, just all you kids who can't handle this shit, just get off my lawn. Like, I'm too old for this shit. I'm done playing around. I'm just gonna be myself and get weirder. Jacking off and packing pussy in back of a theater. Pretty self-evident. She say that my cock the only remedy could heal her, so I put the robe on with the staff, a magic wielder. So, you know, I'm implying that I'm like, you know, she said that my cock is, like, literally a healing magic, and so I was like, oh baby, you gonna get the magic, you know, and put on my robe and my staff. Can't do shit today because I'm waiting on the dealer. This is a true story. So I think I wrote this around the same time that one day we were just, like, trying to buy pot and we had to wait, like, all fucking day. Specifically, it was that May had to wait, like, at her, you know, her parents' place, and, like, was there all day because this dude had, like, you know, said he was on his way, but he was on his way from, like, 3 hours away or some shit. So, like, basically I was just sitting around waiting for her to come home, and she was sitting around waiting for him, and, like, neither of us had really had anything to do, so we were just kind of bored all day, you know. And, I mean, we had even met up at one point, but then we got separated again because of, like, miscommunication with the guy. Point being, it was a long day of not fucking doing anything because we were waiting for a dealer. How am I supposed to feel normal without a lung peeler? So I'm just saying, like, I've gotten so used to smoking weed that, like, I don't even feel normal without it anymore. Like, this is what it is, a normal feeling to me, which is more true now than it was then. Got her on her back, hand on her mouth because she a squealer. Keeping her for life because she also is a kneeler, implying, you know what people kneel to do. Feel her taking all my thoughts away, falling deep in the haze where the room delays. So, you're in the haze and the room delays probably means you're high, There's a haze of smoke and everything is moving slower than normal. Close my eyes, breathing deep while the world decays. No, I couldn't care less about the end of days. Here I'm just envisioning sort of the world outside as it decays, as, the world just sort of falls apart, and I don't really care about the end of the world. If I'm stressed, I'll just smoke the pain away, play a game, kick back, and forget the fame. So, if I'm stressed out, there's kind of a funny little, switch up here because I'm talking about the end of the world and how I don't care about it. And then I say, if I'm stressed, I'll just smoke the pain away. But what I'm stressed about at the end is not the end of the world, but the fame. That's the actual thing that's causing me stress. So, I legit don't care about the end of the world. I just need to fucking get away from my own problems for a little bit. And again, just like with Human Connections, I tried to end the song on a high note. I wanted there to be... There's always across this album, tie-ins to the other half, Manic High and Manic Low are not portrayed as dichotomous emotions on this album. There's a lot of the same themes running through both sides, and, even at the low, how I'm planning to get out of it is to, go do these other things that will put me in a good mood and allow me to achieve Manic High again, So, this is kind of what separates this album strongly from the vibe of Bedroom Bedrock and Above the Earth Haunted, where those were unrelenting albums. Above the Earth Haunted especially was sort of an album about there being no escape, about how even after soaring up to new heights, it did not improve my quality of life, So on that album it was just kind of relentlessly sorrowful. And then Gay and Dead starts off kind of that way, but as you go, there's, you can see peeking over the horizon the coming tide of change in my lifestyle, and this is represented on here, and this is sort of what is my life now, is where the pain is escapable and there's a manic high coming, as opposed to merely the lows, but you gotta work for it. So, of course, writing all of Manic Low was the much easier part to do, not only because I was the most excited about using these beats, but also because, again, it's easier to write about this shit. And the beat for You're the One came later. That was not out yet at the time that I was putting this album together. It would come out just, a bit later, and I would immediately, slot it into the album. But... because that was kind of what completed Manic High for me. When that beat came out was when I finally was okay, now I need to make this half of the album, So, but Habitual was the first one I did, and this was a beat that I had passed on way back because it's just total chaos. Shane made this beat as some kind of experiment with ARPs in FL Studio, and just this really bizarre off-kilter beat behind it, drum pattern. And, it sounds like a fucking nightmare. There's, a huge wall of noise, and I had always just thought, I would love to rap over this, but I don't know if my voice will penetrate this wall of sound. Well, then I realized, thanks to some good old-fashioned production ingenuity, that the best way to do this would not be to have my voice try to overpower the sound, but instead to just be distracting. So, my voice is constantly going left to right panning. It's just got a warble effect on it that makes it pan from left to right throughout the entire song. Not really in any kind of discernible pattern, not in time with the beat or anything. It's just going side to side in a predictable way. And because of that, you end up paying a lot more attention to it, even though it's kind of echoey and drifty, but it's also got reverb on it that makes it sound more full, so it's just got this feeling that you can hear everything I'm saying and you can pay attention to it even though it's over this backdrop of totally chaotic noise. with the exception of the one part where I have the chorus, which you're not meant to really be able to fully, like, articulately understand. It just sounds cooler to be, like, fuzzy and grainy. But, so this song is once again readdressing, like, the topic of me sort of wanting to take a step back from my YouTube career, or to just, like, be less of an internet presence and be less forward about myself. It says, how do you break a bad habit when it makes bank and just like you imagined, gives you all the fame and attention you craved back when you were depraved, although now that you have it, you're chained to a lifestyle you can never manage, and changed from the inside you can't really grasp it, because happiness never made sense to you really, and dealing with reality is beyond your talents. Jesus Christ. So, the bad habit in this case is pretty obviously just like the constant need to produce content for YouTube. You know, this constant need to, like, put all of myself out there and, like, just, you know, never relent on this stream of, like, information. And, you know, it's hard to break out of the habit of doing that when it makes bank and, just like you imagined it would, gives you all the fame and attention that you craved back when you were depraved. Though now that you have it, you're chained to this lifestyle you can never manage, and you can't really grasp changing from the inside, because you don't really understand what it means to be happy. Like, what are you supposed to do to achieve this mythical happiness? Like, what things do you need to acquire in life in order to, like, make that happen? And, like, you know, the fact that even though I am really happy now, the fact that there are still things that can, like, piss me off and take me off in another direction, I'm just like, why? Like, why is that possible? Why is it even doable, you know? It's sort of frustrating, and, you know, dealing with reality is beyond my talents. Like, I don't really know. This is kind of why I've taken, you know, why I've taken May on as my, like, sort of PR manager. She doesn't even really, like, I end up posting most of the shit that I post anyways, and, like, but, like, she sort of reads through all my stuff and, like, makes sure that I'm, like, maintaining a good, like, relationship with my fans and viewers, you know? And, like, I need that because I don't know how to do it myself. I don't know how to, like, manage my own life, you know? So, like, dealing with reality is beyond my talents. All my feelings, they go two ways. This is just, like, me literally trying to explain the album in this line. Like, I'm trying to explain that, you know, I feel both ways about everything. So, even though I might love something completely, I also, like, understand how I could hate it. You know, like, I can think of the reasons that I would, like, you know, love and hate anything I consume or, like, that I look at or think about. And I, you know, I choose the one that I feel, like, you know, more strongly about, but, like, I have feelings that go both ways. They regress, expand, and get rearranged. Like, they're just, and then retracting and extending fangs over throats of everyone else in the game. So, somehow, like, my feelings are changing about things and constantly, you know, evolving, and it causes me to either be more or less aggressive towards other people, you know, where I've really bared my fangs towards the anime analysis and review community a number of times, you know, even though other times I'm like, I really kind of just want to be friends with everybody, but then sometimes I just fucking go off the handle, you know. Imagine me tame and suppressed, less aggressive, docile and spayed, never hostile, depressive, angry and quiet, taming a riot inside. Fuck that, it's coming out, I do not care who dies. So this is me just saying, like, you know, imagine me if I tried to be not aggressive. Like, I would just have all this inside me. You know, if I was, like, not projecting this outward, I would just be bottling it up and just being angry and quiet, you know, trying to keep this all to myself. But I'm like, fuck that, I'm just gonna let it all out, and if there's negative consequences, then, you know, whatever. I'm a monster, I can't keep my mouth shut, enunciating every syllable of each rut. Carrying my baggage out in public and showing it off as an icebreaker. I do myself no favors. I'll be in control later. I'll look down on those haters. I'll know how to flow better. I'll come out my hole maybe. I'll take on the world hazy. I'll be who you need, baby. I'll get over myself. Not likely. So, you know, these are all things I hope I'll get to do. These are all things that, like, I'm like, anticipating for myself. But, like, I don't know. You know, I don't know if I can ultimately do these things in the long run. Like, this is what I'm shooting for, but who knows, if I can actually do these things. It's unproven as of yet, There's an interesting flow change here because through most of the song I've got this like like going on. How do you break a bad habit when it makes banking just like you imagine? Gives you all the fame and attention you craved while you were depraved all the now that you have it. But it's not quite like that. I change it up so it doesn't sound like just the same thing over and over again, But then when we get to the part where I say like, carrying my baggage out in public and showing it off as an icebreaker, I do myself no favors. I kind of wrote this line just like clunkily, and when I performed it, I stumbled over it. And at first, I wanted to retake it. I did a number of takes on this song, granted, but like, I thought about retaking it, but then the way that it caused the flow to fall onto like a different beat, like, if it was on the on beat, it's now on the off beat or something. Like, it fell differently, and it made that part sound so much more desperate that I wanted to keep it that way. Like, I liked the idea that I was getting so desperate that I was, like, fucking up my lines, and, like, getting off time and shit like that. So, I think it sounds cool. And then we got the chorus, shaking the habitual, join me in the ritual. Shaking the Habitual is the name of an album by The Knife. I've never really listened to that album that much. I just really like the title. And, songs about shaking a habit. Could I start over? Could I run away? Would it be enough just to change my name? Would I be found in a matter of days? Would I be ratted out while I'm on stage? Could I make everybody understand a new direction but for the same man? Would I be able to change how I am? Is this the only life I understand? So here I'm just asking, like, if I tried to change myself, if I tried to change my image or, like, reemerge as somebody else, would people be receptive to it? Would they find me? Would they rat me out? Would, like, people tell the new fans that, like, oh, this guy's this other guy, like, he's not who you think he is, And it's just like, is there any way I could change significantly and make everybody understand and be, like, down for it, And if not, like, is this just the only life I even understand? Like, can I even do that? Can I pretend to be somebody else or change who I am? Like, is that something I'm capable of? Who knows? So anyway, that's Manic Low. So then I got to work on Manic High. So the first song that I decided to do for Manic High was Way Up, and I'd gone through Shade's whole, SoundCloud, and this song was kind of distinctive because while it is technically a beat, Shade had explicitly written on the page that, like, this was not meant for rap. He made this beat for someone to sing over, and, I had thought it was a really weird beat because on the one hand, I love the leading melody. But, like, there's this weird-ass backing, like, counter melody that Shade put in there that makes, like, no sense and sounds totally jarring. But, like, I don't know if I dislike it. It's just, like, a weird... It feels like you're hearing another song going on in the background, but not in a displeasing way. I don't know how to put it, but, like, the main thing is pretty great. And at the time, I don't think it was a genre, like, of beat that I really considered in my wheelhouse. Like, I didn't really understand what could be done with it. That wasn't until I started listening to a lot more, like, modern, like, pop music and hip-hop. Got really into both Oliver Francis, who made one of my favorite albums of last year, called Chlorine, and then also Post Malone, who I got into because of the H3 podcast. And around this time, I started to develop a sort of, fond relationship with, like, pop radio, because my phone, I got this new fucking Google Pixel, which for some reason will not interface correctly with my car. And so, because my new phone won't talk to the car, and my other phone I just don't always have on me that has all my music on it, I, like, started listening to the radio a lot more, and I would pretty much always put on the same hip-hop radio channel, because generally hip-hop singles are easier to deal with than any other brand of singles. So, like, I've been listening to shitloads of hip-hop radio, and, like, a lot of it's garbage, but I developed, like, a real appreciation for some of the good songs on, such as Post Malone and Rockstar and Congratulations, which is more of what I'm going for with this particular song. But, like, this is somewhere in that range of, like, the Oliver and Post Malone, like, sing-song rappers who are, you know, just trying to have this laid-back, smoked-out atmosphere. However, because this song is a little bit trippier than that, I wanted it to be even more, like, rugged and druggy and to have some rapping in it, because it's long as shit, and rapping's what I'm best at, you know. So, first thing I wrote is the hook, of course. Girly, when you rock with me, we turn the music way up. Drag that cushion to your head, it's gonna take us straight up. Over everybody at the party, gonna be laid up. Popping up or down or hey, whatever keeps the play up. Basically just a story of my everyday life. We just fucking smoke and listen to music and have fun. We don't really go to parties that often, but like when we do, we usually disappear from them to go smoke, you know? And I don't mean that we go to like parties with like people. I mean like if I'm at like my parents' house, I still will find a way to escape. So then I get into my rap part. Didn't know I could feel good like that. Didn't know I could tuck away that strap. So of course, strap referring to being strapped, like having a gun. Saying I could tuck away the gun, just more like my my reservations essentially and defensiveness. You the one who taught me how I could relax, put away the stress, take a breath, lay back. Never gave a second thought, not to any other thought. Thought, of course, being short for that hoe over there. I just think this phrase is super fucking hilarious. And, like, I love that in spite of it being an acronym, you can just grammatically break it. And also that it is really easy to rhyme with, so it's fun to use. You're the only one I want chilling with me at the swamp. Now, the reference to a swamp as like your home and like your place where people live, sort of like the phrase trap. I don't know if it's ever been used in like hip hop at large, but my friend Brando just like insisted on it. And if you listen to BC, there's a part where I sing, "The boys and I were chilling out at the swamp," and like that was something he wrote. I don't know what the fuck it meant, but like I thought it was hilarious, so I incorporated it here. I'ma put you in the bank, I'ma have you with the steak, crush it baby, I don't break, let's go make a few mistakes. So these are more just like fun sounding phrases. I'ma have you with the steak is especially great because like we go out to fancy restaurants well, not fancy, but like we go out to restaurants all the time, occasionally fancy restaurants, and I'm just like saying, I'm gonna have you with like this nice food and like I'm gonna spend money on you, like, and you can like really go hard on me, and like I'm gonna show you the nice life, Then we get to my favorite, probably lyrically one of my favorite parts on the whole album, which is, let's go make a video that we never release. I'ma use my best voice, only you can hear me. We could do this anywhere, baby, we could disappear. Nobody can follow us, they can only follow us. So, of course, the play on words here is that you can't actually follow us, but you can follow us on Twitter or YouTube, But we can go anywhere, and like people won't have to see everything that we do. We can make videos that never come out, I can sing just for you, we could disappear off the face of the earth if we wanted to. Never sharing this love, they can only taste a piece. Sweeter than they ever knew, so much more they'll never see. We can take this everywhere, we can never ever leave. Whatever you want, baby, you're the queen and I'm the king. So I'm talking about how, like, I don't want to publicize our love in intimate detail. I want it for myself. I will give people a piece of it. I will let you see some of it. I will let you get a taste. Sweeter than you ever knew, because my love is sweeter than any of you have ever known. It's a higher quality love. However, there's so much more that you'll never see. Even though what you've already seen was tasted so sweet, you can't even know the tip of the iceberg of how sweet it truly is, So, and of course, we could literally do this everywhere, or we could just not leave. I don't really care. I'll do whatever you want, So we get to the next verse. Nobody can stop us when we doing what we want. Not the government, family, or friends, or anyone. Taking happiness into our hands from now on. Try to stop me now, but bitch, I have already won. I don't know why I threw in, like, the government here. I think I was on, like, a libertarian agenda kick here. Perhaps because of Post Malone's influence, since he's, like, that type of guy. But I'm just like, yeah, I'm doing what I want, I'm not taking any shit. I've been on that for a bit. I'm just gonna be legit. I ain't gotta deal with it. Not with pussy on the dick. Not while I be getting lit. I'ma drink another sip. Forget when life wasn't this. So yeah, here we're kind of calling back to a lot of the same stuff I also said on the Manic Low tracks. Like, just saying, like, I don't really have to prove anything. I don't have to take any shit. Not while I'm, like, having this much fun, So, like, this is me having the proper response to, like, criticism, whereas the other songs are me, like, going down this, this dark hole and thinking about it too much. But here I'm kind of blowing it off because I'm having so much fun. Then I say, we'll go make some memories only we can recall. We'll invite a few friends, all the rest can fuck off. We can travel anywhere, baby, we could disappear. Daring them to follow us, those fuckers ain't strong enough, So, like, sort of saying, yeah, we're gonna invite our friends, we'll go wherever, but like, and if anybody can keep up, I dare you, but nobody can. We're one of a kind. So yeah, that's that song. This one's got, so stylistically there's a lot going on with the singing. This probably has the most different tracks and different takes attached to it, and I wasn't completely satisfied with my vocals on this song, but, like, in the end, I liked it enough, and I didn't think I'd be able to do a better take. Like, I tried using other voices, and I didn't really like any of the ones I was capable of. You could just say that the song is out of my range, or that this was the wrong beat for my voice to try to do this on, which, Shade, after this album came out, told me he loved the vocals on this track and wants to make a new beat for it. So, maybe you'll, see more in it when you hear it that way if you didn't like the original. But I enjoy this song a whole lot, and I think that in spite of like the somewhat lackluster vocal delivery, the strength of the hook shines through that. So like on the chorus, you've got me doing both like this low voice, it's like girly when you rock with me, as well as a super high pitch girly when you rock with me. And this is because I wanted there to be like a tinge of emotion, because I do think like this kind of music is a little sexier when there's like a romantic emotional side to it, but you also want it to be laid back and chill and seem like not desperate, and like whereas Post Malone and Oliver just kind of naturally have like a laid back feeling voice, but that also feels very full, my voice when I'm doing the lows is a little too robotic, and when I'm doing the highs is a little too emotional. So I kind of had them counterbalance each other and create this like weird altered state of like being chill and yet also like romantically involved at the same time. Again, I don't think I nailed the delivery of it, but like I do like the vibe that it gives off hearing those two different tracks next to each other. And then I do something similar in the slower sections of the song, but there I do like a super dramatic emotional voice, and there's one that's like the deep, let's go make some videos that we never release, and then under that is like a, let's go make some videos that we never release, or something like that. It's like a real breathy, real like fragile sounding voice, and that's kind of what I wanted to convey there, is like laying my soul bare. I wanted to be like, here's everything I've got, and like here's how much I care about you, and like want to be, give control of my life over, but then there's the rap segments where I'm just kind of being more of like a aggressive, like cool guy rap dude, but I used this really funny like voice for it just because I thought it would sound best over the beat, and yeah. So, and I really enjoyed the contrast of the rapping and the singing, because I wanted it to kind of feel like two different people. Like, you could imagine this being a collab song between a singer and a rapper, and so I wanted the rapper to have like a way different voice from the singer, and I think I succeeded at that at the very least. So next up, we've got You're the One. Shade released this beat. It's one of my favorite beats he's ever done. It's super, like, freaky. It's got these staccato drums. It's, like, kind of a breakbeat thing, but then with these really just, like, heavenly, beautiful arpeggios on the synths that I fucking love. I just love the sound of this song. It's one of my favorite beats he's ever done for sound alone. It's got a very Bomberman Hero kind of vibe to it, but it also doesn't quite sound like any just generic like breakbeat song that I've heard. So, you know, I'm really into it. So my immediate thought when I heard this beat was, let's do something like Bus Driver, because it's such a complicated sounding beat, and this is the kind of shit Bus Driver often raps over. If you listen to stuff on like Thumbs or Perfect Hair, there's moments where songs devolve into this kind of sound, and he's still spitting bars over it. So I wanted to go for his, because his style would, like, if I used his voice, would be, I'm not meant to live this life alone, with this microphone, showing people when I'm prone. Will you take me home? Like, you know, that's kind of the thing I had in mind. But then, when I stepped up to the mic and recorded a bunch of takes of this part, I felt like something kind of loose and casual would be best. Like, I wanted to sound like I'm doing spoken word poetry, but like, in a really casual kind of way, or like a well-acted way. Like, not that super dramatic stop and go stuff that you get out of so much spoken word poetry, but something more loose and flowing. So it's like, I'm not meant to live this life alone, with this microphone, showing people when I'm prone. Will you take me home? You know? No, I can't. No, I don't care where you're from. I will come. I have to come and make you come. You're the one. And I also wanted long pauses so that it was like real freaky and weird. And then when the song finally does get into a verse, I wanted those verses to like cut out at kind of weird moments, or cut in at weird moments. So it's all like this sort of weird dreamy feel to it. To analyze the lyrics, I'm not meant to live this life alone was, this was like, I wrote this lyric and just had it sitting there for days because I thought it was perfect. Like, that's basically what my grand realization is about my relationship, is like, I'm not someone who's meant to live alone. Definitely not with this microphone showing people when I'm prone. Will you take me home? No, I don't care where you're from. I will come. I have to come and make you come. You're the one. So this is about how, you know, when we met each other, I was like, I will come. I will come all the way to where you are. I have to, because you are clearly the one for me. You know, that's why I moved up here. And so this whole song is basically just like a very straightforward detailing of my relationship. You know, when I saw you, I hoped you were real. And this is in a very literal sense, because we met on Snapchat, so I literally didn't know if she was a fucking, like, phishing me or something, you know. When I saw you, I hoped you were real. Then you were, and I hoped you were going to help me feel. So, you know, from an early point, I'm like, well, it would be nice to have, like, a girlfriend or something, but I don't know where this is going to go. Then you did, and I knew there was no turning back. Nothing else was ever going to make me feel like that. So, yeah, like, once we were together, it's like, okay, you checked off all the boxes. We've made it here. Already more time has passed happy than any guessed, and it still feels like it's starting all this happiness. What will it be like to live together years from now? I know how I think, and I want to see that I think. No, I want what I see. I think I fucked up this lyric in the song. I want what I see, and I think you being with me is gonna be the greatest thing that's ever come to you or me, but only time can truly see. So, you know, there's this almost ambivalence that comes from, like, feeling so overwhelmingly happy in a relationship, but it's only been like 6 months. And like, after having been alive for as long as I've been alive, and having, you know, experienced all the vast number of emotions and changes in my life that I have, as somebody who moved all the time, who's, you know, had friendships come and go, and relationships come and go, and like, I don't, you know, like, the thought that this is going to last forever is like, it's difficult, it's challenging to believe in for those reasons, and yet it seems there's like no real need to doubt it, because like, it seems inevitable given the circumstances of our relationship, you know. And so like, when I imagine what it would be like for us to live together years from now, I'm like, I want what I'm seeing, and I think it's possible that this is going to be the best thing that ever happened to us, but there's no real way to know until enough time has passed, you know. So only time can truly see you're the one. So I do this sort of repetitive, it's like a semi-hook. It's just kind of a hook to have something to remember this song by, because like, it's so weird and so jarring that I didn't think most people would pay much attention to the lyrics. Like, you're probably going to notice the hard beat a little bit more. You're probably going to like notice that the lyrics are kind of, the flow is like built into the beat. Like, I built it in such a way that it like marches to the rhythm of the bass drum. And, like, once you lock into that, it's just kind of this nice, easy flow to it. But then, like, it ends at abrupt moments and, like, has this brief hook. But, like, I didn't want the hook to take up much space. I wanted everything to be really spacious and airy in this song. So then we return to the second verse. And this is a true story. The day that I wrote this, today I nearly crashed my car and you just didn't blink an eye. Paradise, we're both blinded by this manic high. So what happened here is that I did not heed the warning of anybody to buy snow tires or even to inflate my tires in the winter. And I was trying to make a quick left turn into our neighborhood because there was like a car coming, but he was far enough away that I was like, oh, I could easily beat that guy if I just whip in there. But then, of course, the road had just started snowing and the road was like a little icy. So I skidded out, ended up taking out like some pole and almost hit the sign, the like welcome sign to the neighborhood, you know? And so, like, we didn't really do any damage or anything, but it was like, we nearly crashed the car and she was just like, well, that was scary. And I was like, yep. And we were just like, let's pretend that didn't happen. And so we did. And I was just like, this girl is so in love with me that she's not even mad that, like, I just put us both in danger, you know? So, like, we're clearly blinded by this manic high. You and I are so in each other that we might die, which is fine because we never make it long and alive without the other soon behind. That's the kind of bind we've put ourselves in this time that we just couldn't survive without one another's eyes to look into our eyes. So, yeah, just saying, like, we literally are so attached that we would probably take, like, if one of us goes, we're taking the other with us, whether intentionally or not, you know? We've been synchronized like two pieces of technology, or every single ant inside the hive mind of a colony, a melding so intense it generates epochs of energy, or any of the best sex ever had through all of history. Your body melting into me and bringing me to heavenly elation is the main station of operation given to me, so please, baby, embrace me in your bosom as I sing. I want you with me always, and there's nothing else I need. So what I went for with this verse is I wanted at the very end to just like flex technical over this beat, because it's such a sick beat. There had to be like a real, like, you know, cool sounding flow with some big word multisyllabic rhymes in there to kind of like, you know, show off my MC skills a little bit. But like, I also present it in a way where it's very matter of fact. It's almost as if I'm doing it, like, in the song, you can tell in my delivery that I'm, like, presenting this as something I have to just get out of the way. Like, I say the first four lines, like, kind of intense, but then I go, like, your body melting into me and bringing me to heavenly, elation is the main station of operation given to me. So please, baby, embrace me in your bosom as I sing. I want you with... So, like, the point of that was to sort of reveal the insincerity of, like, you know, doing super hard technical rap, because, like, I don't think that really communicates loving emotions, you know? Like, I don't think me trying to show off how well I can rap is, like, necessarily romantic. So, like, while I'm describing a bunch of big, flowery, romantic concepts and, like, oh, the whole universe is defined by our love, at the end, I sort of, you know, break it, like, point out how corny it is by breaking down the lines that way, and then at the end, I get very sincere and, you know, break the rhyme scheme and sort of just be like, please, just embrace me as I sing. I want you with me always, and there's nothing else I need, which is just like the most honest way of putting it, you know, like, forget all the extra flowery stuff, like, that's the bottom line, you know. So that's why I structured it that way. It's one of my favorite songs that I've ever done. I love it. So lastly, we got Heavenly. And funnily enough, this is the oldest beat in this collection by far. This was from one of the early beats that Shade made, I think, during the early stages of Bedroom Bedrock production, like not long after Rotten and stuff. And it was just one of the songs that I thought sounded better as a standalone track on its own. Like, I thought it made for a decent song, and like I didn't know what kind of flow would go over it. I was more into like fast rapping at the time. I didn't really know how to do like long syllables, because when you want to be like a slower rapper, you really need your voice to fill the sound channel, you know? Like when Killer Mike's like, hardcore G shit, homie, y'all don't play around, like I have to make my voice sound like that in order to have enough rasp to make my syllables last longer, you know? If I sing it, hardcore G shit, homie, y'all don't play around, like you can hear the pauses in between every word I'm saying, so there's not that fullness that gives it that power, you know? So returning to Heavenly, returning to that beat, I was listening to it and I was like, this song kind of has like a hype bouncing like bass line to it, even though it's like this really chilled laid back song. You could also kind of imagine it as a party song. So I thought, what if this was like a party song where I went for the same vocal style as like Body Rolls, as like this real crunk obnoxious voice, but instead of having it like overpowering the mix like it was in that song, I'm gonna tuck it way the fuck back and have it just kind of melt into the sound in a way that's sort of inspired by Flood by Boris, to be completely honest, because this song gives me a similar vibe to that one. But so I wanted it to be a big ignorant crunk song, and the voice performance on this is particularly unique. I didn't really talk about it on You're the One because I didn't do anything that special to that song. It's just kind of got some echoey effects on it. But with Heavenly, this one is, I did all my takes in slightly different voices, and then I panned them all to either the left or right 100%. So throughout the verses, you're hearing two of my voice, but one is in each ear, and they're similar but not quite the same. And it's like, it's kind of trippy and dizzying, but the main thing it does is that it makes it so you're hearing enough of my voice that you can understand what I'm saying and I'm coming through clear. However, it's quieter because of the separation of channels. So like, it's just lower in the mix, and it makes it so you can hear the background a lot better. But then when the chorus comes in, there's a third vocal take that's just in the middle of the mix. So you're hearing the two on the sides and then also the one in the middle, and that makes it really beefy when the chorus kicks in. And I think that effect worked perfectly, and this is probably like the best sounding song I've ever produced the vocals of. Like, most of my songs that sound really good, someone else produced the vocals, although this whole album sounds pretty good. I think the only thing I would criticize on here really is Way Up's vocals. Otherwise, I'm real happy with how everything sounds, to be honest. But like, on Heavenly is probably my favorite production-wise. But the lyrics go, not a single fucking hater gonna try to talk to me, I'm living that heavenly, choke the dick and try to breathe. So, I first had the idea for just the lyric, not a single fucking hater gonna try to talk to me. I think I was just walking around the house and just came up with that and thought it was funny and was like, that's gotta go on the album. I'm living that heavenly is me just like, I wanted to make heavenly into kind of a catchphrase in the same way that gay and dead is, or even well laid and well paid, that like living that heavenly is like kind of a, a state of mind that I enter in my life, sort of. And then choke the dick and try to breathe. I just thought it was the best rhyme to end on because like, I really love stuff like that Lil Yachty does, where he will take a real innocent lyric and follow it up with a real hard lyric. So if you ever listen to the song Broccoli, his first lyric is, hey little babe, do you wanna be my sunshine? Fucking with my crew, we gon' turn this shit to Columbine. It's just like the cutest thing he could have rapped, followed by the edgiest thing he could have rapped. And so I just thought it was funny to be like, talking about how haters can't even talk to me because I'm living so heavenly, and then I'm just like, choke the dick and try to breathe. Like, I don't even know who it's addressed to, I just think it sounds funny. Plant a bottle of Hypnotic deep in my esophagus. I just really wanted to use the phrase, plant a bottle of Hypnotic deep in my esophagus. And Hypnotic is a real, like, ghetto type of drink. It's like the kind of drink that would show up in rap music videos, like as a paid sponsorship, kind of like Ciroc or something. Like, it's in like a suave looking blue bottle that you like. It tastes like nothing. Like, it's like 20% alcohol and it tastes like a fucking fruit punch, and you just drink a whole bottle of it in one go, basically. And I'm a fan, so I'm like, just plant it in my esophagus, which of course the esophagus is not where you put liquids, I don't think. I believe that is what you breathe through, but that's why I then blow it out my nose, blowing out my nose, my brain full of weed and eroticas. So like, basically I'm sneezing out my brain, and my brain is full of weed and erotica. Now, I wrote this song last. This song I wrote right before I finally produced the last two songs on the album. And it was right after I'd been sick for a while. So, like, this theming of, like, blowing my nose and, like, my brain comes out and all that's in my brain is weed and erotica because that's all I consume. So, like, I just thought that was a fun visual way of putting things. Fucking by the window, floor 16, get the binoculars. This is a true story. We were in floor 16 of a hotel, and, like, you could visibly see into, like, people's apartments. It was super weird. Like, this hotel we were in was adjacent to a bunch of apartment buildings, but, like, people just had their fucking blinds open, and you could just see into their fucking houses, and it was super weird. And so, like, you know, we'd be having sex in there with, like, the curtains open, and I was just, like, constantly watching to see if anybody might happen to look over, you know, or, like, if they had binoculars and, like, you know, they wanted to watch. But, gotta get another nut in before I start the second verse. Just, you know, extra crude shit here. Some people telling me tone it down or write it betterer. Don't they realize I made my game up as an editor? Before any single finger hits the key, it's all worked out inside of me, like when I speak, but need them long autistic pauses. So, like, first of all, I'm talking about how, like, I am an editor by trade. Like, that's a huge part of my work, is that I edit video. I edit things, I edit audio. Like, everything I do involves editing. And so, like, I, of course, do know how to do it. Like, people don't really consider me to have flashy editing, but I understand how to edit competently. It just doesn't, like, the things I do don't require it that much. So, like, the style I have doesn't require it, but I can do it. And I am exceptional as a text editor, which is why my text reviews, you know, are so popular, is that, like, I really fucking edit them down and make them perfect. You know, and I've been having a lot of fun editing the videos that Pantsu Party's been making on her channel. Like, I've edited her vlogs and the stuff that we've done together, and, like, I think I'm really strong at, like, finding the best through line through a video, you know, and, like, trying to make it work. And then I'm also talking about how before I even type anything, I've already figured most stuff out, because that's the way I write. It's always been a stream of consciousness writing style, except that I edit before I even write. You know, like, I think about each sentence and I just kind of try to nail it before I even type it out. It's rare that I write where I'm, like, flying by the seat of my pants so much that I have to, like, heavily revise a script, which has been happening more lately, because sometimes I write a script when I'm, like, super blazed and it just, like, comes out, and then I have to edit it sober, you know. But, like, generally I'm good at editing before it even comes out of my fucking head, you know. It's just like when I speak, but I need them long autistic pauses. And I'm talking about how, like, with my famous videos like You're Gonna Carry That Weight, where it was unscripted, like, there's just super long pauses between the sentences in the original recording. Like, I would just shut up for a minute, think about what I was going to say, and then talk, and that's basically the same thing as writing. So, you know, that's the comparison I'm making. I made y'all feel nauseous, that's just how it go. And this is because I already knew I was going to do this, like, warped audio and shit, and, like, just, I figured people would probably have, like, be a little, like, wobbly after hearing this song, or even from Habitual, because that one will definitely make you nauseous. I'm up on some new shit, just thought y'all should know. I realized how much that I love Childish Beano, now I gotta be the next one everybody knows. This is kind of a weird line, I don't know why I threw this in, because up until this point, what I had been going for with this song, lyrically, was that every line was supposed to be a punchline. Like, I wanted every line of the song to sound memorable and to be a hook. So, like, the chorus is obviously real memorable, but, like, plant a bottle of hypnotic deep in my esophagus, blowing out my nose, my brain full of weed and erotica, like, all of these are very evocative, fun, like, sentences that are, like, fun to say, that evoke cool imagery. And so, it's this, at this point, when I'm doing the breakdown, I kind of, like, cut that a little bit and am, like, now I'm just, like, talking to you for real. But all I've got to say is, like, I realized that I really like Childish Gambino because I was really into the album Awaken My Love at the time that I wrote this. And now I realize that I gotta try to be like Childish Gambino and be like a multi-talented individual, you know, and get into music and make a great album the same way that he did. And then I just kind of repeat the chorus, and that's it. That's the last of the songs on Manic High. So that's Manic High, Manic Low. Pretty much as soon as I fucking finished the recordings, I just, like, that same night, edited everything together, got the video out. The video is just made by visualizers available in FL Studio. Frank Jeff C has a tutorial on how to make those. So I just kind of tried to match the tone of each half of the album, you know. If you watch the video closely, at the very end, you will see Windows Media Player, and that's because the way that I rendered this shit was like so convoluted. Like I was having a real difficulty exporting the fucking visualizer videos and then like getting them into Sony Vegas. Something was just fucking up. So instead I just played the videos in a playlist and had a screen recorder on. So I used Open Broadcaster to screen cap the video, and it just like kind of cut off right before the actual end of the song. So like, you know, the audio you're hearing I put in afterwards. Like I put in the actual musical tracks after like on top of the visualizer video. So the proper song goes a little bit past how long the visualizer video was, and since Open Broadcaster was still recording, it caught the ending screen. But I left that in because it tells you to play again, which is important to the theme of the album. I think you're supposed to listen to it on repeat. So, you know, that was kind of cool. I don't think there's anything else to say about the production of this album. I'm sorry it took me so long to discuss this, but like this one had a lot of deep thought put into it, and that's why I wanted to make a video like this, because I kind of got the impression that people were looking at this one like, oh, this is Digi's most like accessible album or something, and I really don't think it is. I think all of it's fucking abrasive as shit. Like Way Up is a singy song, but the beat is very weird and very off kilter and off putting because it doesn't really abide by music theory correctly. And You're the One is like a break beat. Heavenly's got the bi-channel thing that really fucks with your mind. Habitual just sounds like a noise song. And then Human Connections and Feeler are both just sort of very repetitive and like aggressive sounding. So I don't think anything on this is particularly easy to listen to, which is why I love it. Like that's why I kind of wanted it to be that way. I wanted these to be like the songs that would never have been on Gay and Dead. Like even Way Up, even though it sounds like a single, like it's so long and like it's so dreamy that there's no way it could ever have been on that album, you know. So yeah, these are very different tracks, and they probably don't sound like any other project I'll ever end up making, because like I deliberately went for the offshoot tracks of like, you know, the back catalog of Shade's work over his history. So for a lot of it. Anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the album. I hope you bought it. It's only $4. Half of it will go to Shade. That's it, dude. Peace.